This is turning into a fabulous reading year. Several meaty novels, excellent non-fiction, and so far only a couple of comfort rereads, interestingly rather before lockdown, although clearly at a time when it was all getting a bit too much. Since finishing Pale Rider a couple of weeks ago, I've read Where the Crawdads Sing, which I won't comment about as it is a book that I'm about to discuss with my book group, and I'm not going to give away my opinion just yet. It's set in North Carolina in the 1960s, and Reese Witherspoon's production company is involved in setting up the movie. The novel I can discuss is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Published in 2014, it had vaguely crossed my horizon, but I kept forgetting about it until it came time recently to spend a birthday Waterstones gift card. Station 11 is amazing. Restrained, compassionate, spare, and complex. Set in a post-pandemic world where the vast majority of humans, over 99%, have been wiped out by the Georgia flu, a fast-acting virus originating in the Caucasus which kills the infected within 48 hours. It explores the stories of several different characters before and after the pandemic. Mandel plays with time and memory, with concepts of civilization and the collapse of the world as we know it, with relationships between siblings, between parents and children, between husbands and wives. It's an incredibly rich meditation on what matters, on how we make our choices and decisions about what matters, and it is also a deeply satisfying adventure story. It is due to be made into a 10-part TV series. Casting is underway, and I hope it will be wildly successful and encourage even more people to read this wonderful book. It blends quotations from Lear and Star Trek Voyager and has much to recommend it. Another birthday purchase was Edith Hall's delightful Aristotle's Way, How Ancient Wisdom Can Change Your Life. Recently, I've enjoyed Edith Hall's regular appearances on Natalie Haynes's Stand Up for the Classics podcasts, and I had the privilege of hearing her speak live twice, once about Aristotle and a second time about Butrint, known as Buthrutum in Albania. Mythologically speaking, the place where Aeneas arrives, encounters Andromache, still mourning Hector, but now married to Helenus, another prince of Troy and another son of Priam. Enslaved together, Helenus and Andromache have been freed and are now ruling this town or city or settlement, and have recreated it as a mini Troy, including a small Scaean gate. In Aristotle's Way, Hall explores his eloquent views on 10 different aspects of our human existence: happiness, potential, decisions, communication, self-knowledge, intentions, love, community, leisure, and mortality. I particularly enjoyed Hall on potential. It took me back some years to when I read the work of Amartya Sen and Martha Nussbaum on capability. Sen's development as freedom and Nussbaum's creating capabilities have influenced my approach to education hugely. First, because of their fundamental humanity and that connection back to what Aristotle saw as potential, but also because both provide a framework for practical measures to improve the quality of life for all of us, to address the deep inequalities that cause so many problems, up to and including the rioting across the United States over the last week, driven by the murder of George Floyd. Aristotle, Sen, and Nussbaum place human worth and dignity at the heart of their work. We know, and in Station 11 Mandel emphasises, how fleeting and ephemeral these human frames are that we carry at most for a mere century. All of us are aware of the colossal waste embodied in lives not fully lived. As Othello says to Iago, but yet the pity of it. It's the lives of black boys and men snuffed out by brutal policing, and the women enslaved and trafficked across borders, and the children scrabbling in the rubble of Syrian or Yemeni cities, and 1,000 more examples one can summon up in a mere moment of reflection. The books we read, the stories we see and hear on the radio, in the news, in the papers, these are so interconnected. It is easy to despair and close oneself away from the noise and the sorrow, the trauma and the ugliness, especially now under lockdown, confined by COVID. But 36 hours ago, a rapper known as Killer Mike spoke out and spoke loud and spoke true. It is your duty not to burn your own house down for anger with the enemy. Now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. And these are not just words for the rioters across the United States. These are words for all of us. We have a brief space, whether that is the weeks of lockdown and isolation or the mayfly dance that is a human life in the face of time. We must make our lives count. We must plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. Climate change, injustice, inequality, rapacity, and wrongdoing. We may not win the immediate battle, but we do need to continue playing the longer game.